Hey there, fellow dudes. Parker and Becky back with another episode of Secret Invasion. This time we're watching episode 5, Harvest. So Becky, 5 episodes in. Last episode we both felt like was a turning point for all the right reasons. Mm-hmm. Are you excited for this episode?
I'm hesitant because, as you pointed out last episode, the even numbers have been good. And this is an odd number. And so it makes me wonder.
Well, only one way to find out. Marvel Studios.
No, you're not going to show this, so don't say stuff.
Need to start pounding blood transfusion.
We've got a cooler waiting in the
President, can you hear me?
Sir, you need to make a space.
This was not the Russians. It was not.
Sir.
Don't you have something to say about this? This is incredibly unrealistic. What do you always say about this?
That this isn't how it works in hospitals?
Yeah.
Well, I just saw a little bit. That was not, unrealistic. That's a little insane. You can't just be whipping out a gun in a hospital.
Well, it's Nick Fury. And it's the President of the United States.
That wasn't the president.
Yeah, it was.
The president got out. That's the...
He took the president in his car. That was the president. He left Talos behind.
Oh, that was Talos.
No.
Who cares about the president? I care about Talos. In this setting. Clarify. I'm not a communist.
You might not be a communist, but you're a gravicist.
Assemble the opposites.
I think you mean Ken.
He's so different than his character in Barbie.
Zero Kenergy here. None.
You should be proud, G. Talos is finally...
What? Dead? Our target was the president and he's still alive.
Yeah, y'all
I
failed.
don't know that. You ordered Fury's death when you knew Varra would never do it. You had another chance to kill Fury today, and you didn't take it.
Because he has what we need.
You told me Fury hid the Avengers' DNA, but it wasn't in any of the locations you provided. Fury never trusted you, and it makes me start to wonder, why should we...
Oh, baby.
It's like brute power. Oh, he went through him. Yikes.
Hagen thought he had a
Here's
voice.
Hat Boy.
That is how you get
And your
people to
name
rally
is-
around you.
And the only
Kill
reason Fury
their
was on that
peers.
motorway was because his traitor wife defied my direct order.
That's how you become a beloved
You understand?
leader.
Well, then you send some of our people to Vara's house and kill her.
This guy's gonna save the day at the end. He's gonna have an Ex Machina event. I just know it.
Hat Boy?
Yeah, Hat Boy. You see those glares? Those are glares of distrust.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does something, or else it's weird that we've focused
Where are
on
you?
him so much.
On my way to the hospital to make our outcome favorable.
Change your plans. Keep Ritson alive. Make sure he knows it wasn't just the Russians who did this. Prove to him there are Skrulls living here in Russia. And that they must all be eliminated.
Gravik, have you lost your damn mind?
No. This is leverage, Rava. Fury doesn't want to see World War III or to see innocent Skrulls die.
And if we don't get what we want?
Well, then we all do what we've prepared for. Sacrifice.
So it seems like Rhodey is answering to Gravik.
A little
At
bit.
least in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't figure out who's in charge of
Down.
who.
Do something. I dare you.
Stand down. Listen, the country appreciates your service to the president tonight, but I'm here now. You can go.
You must be out of your Skrull-ass mind. You think I'm gonna let you get anywhere near the president?
In about 60 seconds, the footage of you killing Maria Hill is gonna lead off every news program all across the hemisphere, and you're gonna become the most wanted and hated man on the planet. So tick-tock, Nick. Because if you ever get within 100 yards of the president again, I'm gonna make sure you get the whole show.
Tell Gravik I'm coming.
This is the greatest show.
Is it?
All right, that was a solid opening. The more that they've had Rhodey in this show, I feel like the better it's been. He's been a nice dynamic and antagonist to Fury, opposed to
And he's a little more consistent.
Gravik. It's funny you say he's consistent. I feel like this whole series you've been saying he's been very inconsistent with his character.
Until we found out he was a Skrull. Because I was like, we've never seen him be evil like this. But then it was like, oh, he's a Skrull. Okay, that makes sense. But throughout the entire show, he's been consistent. I just felt like it didn't match what we've seen from him in past MCU. Do you think at the end a Skrull's gonna take Nick Fury?
I just want Nick Fury to be a Skrull. Back in London.
Miss Fury is being sought for the murder of former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Maria Hill, as officials investigate Fury's possible involvement
It's out.
in the failed attempt on President Britain's life.
Don't mind me, I didn't see anything, I promise.
Yay, our girl's back.
Well, do you really believe that Skrulls could be amongst us?
Well, if you ask me, sir, I think they're bloody everywhere.
Sonia,
I love her.
mind woman.
Look at that! I must inform you that the SAS has no official policy on killing Skrulls. So unless you want me to enact my personal preference right now, you should start talking.
She is phenomenal. I'm really sad she hasn't been the past couple episodes.
I think she should have had more screen time. She's so good.
What are you confused
He took his
about?
hat off.
Well,
I was like, who is this?
Pagan.
He failed us.
Speak.
He's out of surgery.
What a way to answer
Once
the
he's
phone.
awake, I'll send confirmation of the
Speak.
strike.
Oh, there it is.
They're rebelling.
I guess not a Deus Machina. It's a pretty intense way to kill someone. Suffocate them?
I think they're trying to just incapacitate him
I don't
right
know why
now.
he's not using his powers.
His Grootness.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just letting them get tired. No!
He's dead now. He's just losing all the people around him.
It's the first time we're seeing him in his Skrull form. His ears are wild.
I'm nothing but a monster.
No, Hat Boy. I didn't think he was gonna have that big of a role. Wanted more from Hat Boy.
It all went downhill when he took the hat off. So now he's on the run. He's like in hiding. I wonder who he's gonna go to.
Probably just an old apartment he has. That's not an apartment.
Look who it is.
Gaia.
Oh, that's the old room that he.
In that
I remember
flashback.
playing beneath this when I was a kid.
Talos died.
You can stop there. He died. On a foreign planet. On a foreign road. Nothing will come of it.
You cannot let grief paralyze you, Gaia. This is your time, now. Talos told me how you survived your execution. What DNA did Gravik steal?
Only a few samples, but he took those because he couldn't find what he was looking for.
What was he looking for?
Something he called the harvest.
Harvest.
I need to bury my father.
Can't believe Talos is actually dead.
Yeah, that makes me really sad.
Take him to Priscilla. She'll know what to do.
He was like my favorite character.
I'll be in touch.
Him and Sonya.
They've
Where are you
killed off a
going?
couple of
Finland.
big players in this show.
Just gonna be all right, kid?
At least Talos's was a little more
I'll put on a good
emotionally resonant than Maria Hill.
Oh. Hello, Skrulls.
I just want her to stick a gun in everyone's
I think
face.
a more apt to give you a couple of examples, I'm very good at being your bestie. I'm also devilishly good at being not your bestie. It's really just a matter of taste. Cake or death.
Get out.
Ooh.
No, my name's Victor.
No, of course you are. Nigel's the one with his silencer pressed against the base of your skull. Ooh, there he is. Would you like to take a seat? Ah, well, let's focus on this, shall we? Now start from the very beginning and don't miss out a damn decimal point.
Uh-oh. Look at her.
I won't let her betray Gravik. Let us go, or I'll kill her.
Oh, I don't doubt you for a moment.
She is phenomenal.
So good. Is that Fury's house?
Looks like it. You know what I don't get? She should really...
Professor Davis?
When she was killed, she should have changed into somebody else.
Yeah, probably.
Where's the bullet? No.
You're the one he sent to kill me?
I'm Gaia. Fury said you could help me bury my father.
How you feeling, Mr. President?
Helpless.
Would you like to change that, sir? The Skrulls are most definitely here. And they're working with the Russians. What you see on the screen is the Skrull compound. That's Russian soil. We have to neutralize this facility.
A strike on Russian soil. That means World War III.
I would rather us face a war than extinction, and that's exactly what a Skrull invasion will mean.
Nice pivot and plan.
I got a deal for you.
Got anything to do with the harvest?
Bring it to me in person. I'll call the whole thing off. If I don't get what I want, your president's gonna bomb New Skrullos, and the war is on.
He was our general. He deserves a procession of mourners.
Oh yeah, I forget she's a Skrull, so this is like a real Skrull burial.
Mm-hmm.
It was my mother's.
Return of the Jedi vibes right here.
I told him he was a failure.
The last thing I said to Fury before the snap was if you keep spending all your time chasing aliens, you might lose the one you married. He'd sit there by the window, reading a book, and I'd get lost, just watching him like that for hours.
He ever get lost watching you in your own skin?
That's none of your business.
I didn't mean to offend.
Of course you did. You're young. You think you know everything. But you don't know what it takes to build a life with someone else, to sustain it.
Shut those young folk down. That's what I like to hear.
You're young folk.
Anyway,
Just in
when it comes to
physicality,
facing
not
down
in
my
spirit.
executioners, I'd rather meet the bastard standing right here in my happiness than to meet them running down some dark alley.
Well, that was quick.
Spoke it into existence, that's for sure.
Oh, she's pulling out the big guns.
I've come to really like her character.
I have too.
Past couple episodes, she's gotten a lot more like interesting, and I feel like the actress herself has gotten more to like work with.
She's had a great performance throughout the course of this show.
Yeah. They just have a greenhouse in their home. That's pretty cool. That's like some urban farming type stuff.
Ooh, the blood on the wall there. It was pretty intense for PG-13, even though it's a TV show.
Probably TV-14. Blood looks kind of purple though.
Yeah, Gaia. Ooh. The gun combat has been pretty engaging in this show.
Yeah.
I will give it that. Which is tough to do because I feel like it's tough to make a point and shoot type of fight feel visceral.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a pretty impressive job at that.
And that's something MCU hasn't done a lot of.
Mm-mm. I mean, everyone has superpowers, so it's a lot of hand-to-hand, and it's a lot of stuff.
Powers. Power to power.
Is it Nick?
Amazing.
Let me check I understand this. So, $1 billion of research and development, and all the widow's veil can cloak is your face.
This what we're doing?
Yes, this is absolutely what we're doing. Seatbelt, please. Off we go.
I love her so much.
Thank goodness she's surging back into the show at the end. I feel like everything that I have enjoyed about this show so far is like happening in this episode. Minus Talos.
Yeah, R.I.P.
And last I checked, Britain and the US were allies.
Well, last I checked, Rhodey is a Skrull.
What?
And you said I'd lost my touch. If I don't give Gravik the harvest, then Rhodey is going to incinerate the Skrull compound. Russia will retaliate, and the world will lose its mind.
But the harvest?
Nearly every Avenger spilled blood in the Battle of Earth. In the aftermath, some were sent in to collect that DNA. Some with the ability to blend in, led by
Gravik.
Gravik, yes, which is probably where he got the idea for the Super Skrull machine.
So you are responsible for all this?
Yeah. Why do you think I came back?
Who were they visiting?
Scandinavian cemetery. Should have brought my scythe. Fury, why haven't you called any of your special friends down?
We can't keep depending on these superheroes to swoop in and save our asses.
Seems like a good time, though, to let them swoop in. The brink of World War III.
Or just destruction of the Earth.
Why Finland?
Priscilla and I honeymooned here. Skrulls like the cold.
There it is. Really tricked out this this cemetery. My type of cemetery right there. Oh baby. It's getting real.
He had to change his beanie.
He's going to war.
It's his war beanie.
I was gonna say it's his war patch.
It's time. Let's finish this.
Roll credits. All right, episode 5, Harvest. That was another pretty quick one, wasn't it?
It was. It went by very fast.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed this episode as well. It broke the curse of the odd episodes.
I'm happy to be wrong about that.
I'm very happy that you're wrong about it as well. This
you're the one who came up with the concept.
Yeah, I know. It was a theory. It was a hypothesis. It was a theory. It didn't work out.
Hypothesis and theories are very different.
Whatever. It's both. That's what it is. And it failed at both of them. But no, I really enjoyed this episode. I think these shorter episodes have played out better because it's not trying to do too much. It's forcing itself to be more focused. Mm-hmm. And it gives weight, I feel like, to every single scene. In comparison to a couple of those earlier episodes where there's so much going on and it's just kind of, some of it's getting lost in all of the shuffle. Some of it just didn't work and flow as well as I would have liked it to. It feels, at least the last 2 episodes, it feels a lot more focused and concentrated on what it's trying to do.
I feel like the characters feel like they're making sense with like the actions they're taking, the decisions they're making, even just like their dialogue. Like I feel like things are becoming more consistent, and I feel like the focus doesn't feel so spread thin across the different characters. Like I feel like they each kind of get their little moment, and I feel like I'm not trying to like keep tabs on so many people.
Yeah. Our favorite character came back this episode. Sonia.
Love her.
She, there's just something about her every time she's on screen. She's like, I was thinking about it as I was watching this, she's like Mary Poppins if she was a like secret agent murderer.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
She has like that Mary Poppins vibe, but then's ready to like pull out the pistol.
She just has such good lines.
But it's her delivery, because those lines could come off so corny and so cringe.
For sure.
If it's not delivered exactly the way it needs to be delivered.
But she doesn't say like, she says a lot by only actually saying a little. She's not like giving these like long speeches like some of the characters do.
Yeah.
So I feel like you like get who she is, and she doesn't have to like explain herself a bunch. You just are like, oh, I get what you're about. You're awesome.
Yeah, and I also loved at the end, obviously, when her and Nick Fury come together, but they have that that conversation and that dialogue about why this is personal, about him getting Gravik involved in the harvest process and program, and then revealing that his wife is a Skrull. Just her like performance and the subtlety in that scene, that was very different than what we had seen of her character. Her character at that point had been so on top of everything, and then to have like a couple reveals where she wasn't aware of information, and to kind of just see that shock and awe in her face is just really well done.
Yeah, and I love how her character wasn't like, she was so humble in finding out that she was wrong about things, which just like made me like her as a character even more. And like kind of the softness of her, it's like, oh my gosh, she can also like be able to like relate to people and kind of have those more emotional, tender moments with people.
I still just like feel like this plan overall is pretty cut and dry, and like get US and Russia to fight each other, World War III nuclear war, you know, just kind of very, very basic.
It's nothing new.
Geopolitical conflicts in the MCU is new.
Yeah, but I just mean in
this
film and TV.
In the realm of this espionage, spy thriller type of genre, this is not new, even in the slightest. And I think a lot of other shows and films have done it much better.
Yeah.
It just comes down to it feeling watered down and making it seem a lot more complex than it really is. I keep repeating myself with that because I really believe that. I just don't think it's that complex. And I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be that complex. This is Marvel, you know? Yeah. I'm interested to see how this show is going to end. Obviously, there's going to be a showdown between Fury and Gravik, which is I'm kind of scared for. This show has been the spy espionage thriller, and I feel like in its final act, it's going to do what every Marvel show has done to this point, just become a superhero slug-off. Because obviously Gravik has the superpowers now. Yeah. Nick Fury is going to come with all his guns. It's going to be a punch fest. It's going to be a gun fest. It's going to be mindless action. And that spy espionage genre and tone that they have established throughout the course of this show, I think is going to go out the window.
Yeah, I think it could be done in a way that doesn't happen. Like up to this point, and one of the Skrulls like mentioned it. They said like Gravik, every time Nick Fury's around, he like doesn't do anything. Like Gravik doesn't like take him out or anything. Like almost he's like scared, and they're like, what's your deal? So I almost wonder if he's gonna hold back a little bit, at least at first. And then also I feel like Nick Fury, we don't see him do a lot of combat. And like this whole idea that he's kind of older, I'll be interested to see kind of like how that plays out. Yeah. But what I'm worried about is that there will be a lot of dialogue. And every time we've had a scene where Gravik is like talking a lot, it always feels like over the top, and like each time it's like not consistent with his character. Like we got the one time where he was showing all those like world leaders the big machine to give people the superpowers, and it was like that was just like you're telling us everything like a James Bond villain done poorly. And then we have when he's at the art house, he's being very loud and like this big bro, and can't seem to clearly communicate either. And so I'm just worried we're going to get a huge dialogue, maybe monologue from Gravik that's like not great.
Yeah, the monologues haven't been on point in this series.
Some have though. I don't know if you consider a monologue, but Nick Fury and his wife, which I don't remember her name, they had that really good conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's not a monologue. That's just dialogue. That's conversation.
She went on and kind of talked more, so that's why I was thinking kind of like her side of things.
Yeah. I think something else we need to talk about, because we didn't really talk about it much in last week's episode, was the death of Talos. And I feel like I held back from talking about it and bringing it up because I just kind of assumed that he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Because Marvel has done that so many times throughout its run, but this episode really made it seem finite that his character is gone.
And it's kind of frustrating that we have this perception in MCU that when somebody dies, oh, they're not really dead, they'll come back or whatever. And so I wish I would have felt the weight and the finality of last episode that he really did die, because then we're kind of like past that and he's already dead in this episode, and it feels like I didn't get that time to like grieve,
process it
and
then,
process,
and
yeah.
now you're processing it in this episode.
Yeah.
I just feel like his death was not up to the standard of where his character was.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he deserved more. It didn't feel like it fit emotionally, and it didn't work in an emotional way. You know, you could argue, oh, he went out in a grand way, he like saved the president of the United States. But in the MCU, what does the president of the United States mean? You know, like what does that have to do with anything?
And he's a Skrull living as like a foreigner on this foreign planet. It's not his president.
Yeah, I wish there was more of a sacrifice from him that would have led to him being able to deliver his goal of getting his planet or something.
Or if he had sacrificed himself to save Gaia somehow, like if she had been there, or it was another scenario.
And I can see how they might pivot. Saving the president is eventually going to lead to people and the president entrusting the good Skrulls. You know, people are going to be like, oh, there's good Skrulls out there. We need to allow them to be here. I bet you that's the direction it's going to end up going.
Mm-hmm.
It just emotionally doesn't hit home the way you'd want it to.
It was at least better than
Maria
Hill's death.
For sure. What a disservice to her character, who's been around since the first Avengers movie.
And we were literally like, oh, I hope we get to see more of her in this show. This is her time to like be a big character, and then no.
Yeah, it's just a shame. I feel like the deaths that have come, they could have been emotionally resonant, and they could have been so much bigger and better if they were executed properly. I just think they haven't worked. They haven't felt like they were earned.
Do you think some of that comes from the fact that Marvel doesn't often kill off characters, so they don't have experience in doing that?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's just the writing itself. There's been certain aspects of this show where the writing has been good, certain aspects where it's been passable, and then certain aspects where it hasn't lived up to the standard of quality entertainment. And that's kind of like where my mindset with this show has been for the most part. And I'm glad to see that these last couple episodes, it has been getting better. It's unfortunate it started off weak and gave us that negative bias. That and the IP was there, the foundation was there with the building blocks of this story, and just to not lean into it wholeheartedly feels wrong. I don't know, the deaths in this show just haven't worked. Maria Hill's death just felt like a total slap in the face to her character and a disservice to her character. How about Talos's wife, who dies off screen, and we still don't really know. Maybe I missed it or I didn't hear it, but I feel like we still don't really have the full picture of exactly what went down.
I think
there.
She was ill. I think she got sick.
I don't know. Let us know if we missed that in the comments. It was probably a one-off line.
I think when he told Gaia that her mother was dead.
No, because in the first episode he talks about Gravik's gang and group were the ones that resulted in her death.
Oh.
But it never really divulged. I just kind of assumed at some point in the show that we would get like one of those opening episode flashbacks that would like show us what happened.
Yeah.
And we haven't really gotten haven't gotten that. I don't think at this point we ever will get that. And so it's just the deaths and losses throughout this series and surrounding this series have not worked for me.
Last thing I'll say is I like the ending of this episode.
Yeah.
Kind of Nick Fury gearing up to go to war, but not calling in any sort of like troops or superheroes.
No.
He's just going in on his own, which I expected to have some kind of cliffhanger this episode and then have the rest of the resolution in the final episode. So I'm kind of surprised, and I feel like the next episode might be a little longer because we have a lot to, I think,
unpack.
But it'll be interesting to see if they leave off the entire season on a cliffhanger of sorts. I'm sure they'll put a nice little bow final scene on it, but I'm curious to see if they do anything that will have repercussions on the latter MCU projects, or if this will just kind of like stay contained and, you know, not be too impactful on the rest of the MCU.
I guess only time will tell, and next week we'll have the answers to those questions. But guys, that's just about going to do it for us. If you like these reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to Fellow Dude and Dude Reacts on YouTube.
And like our videos.
Until next time, guys, see you then.
Bye.